and I haven't heard from Gav right. Very upsetting.
You see these floats?
Have you seen him?
No?
Since you
No, he's not been in.
Hasn't he?
No, he'll probably be in this week.
Didn't he come in last week?
Can you see them there like that? Cover the leads.
Should we start?
Yeah.
Going to start when you stop making noises. Welcome everybody to Tales from the Tackle Shop, Season 3, Episode 6. I remembered this week. I was just waiting for my co-host to stop making sounds in the background before I started, but he's still doing it. Yeah. Oh, unbelievable. We can't get the staff. Right. First things first. Can I just thank... We had loads of people giving us a thumbs up on YouTube, which is great. All helps with the algorithms. So, guys, do the same this week, please. It really does help. We had a few more comments, which was nice. So, people just talking to us about different things. I couldn't reply to one or two of them. It's a bit bizarre. I don't know why. YouTube wouldn't let me reply. I'll try again before I put this one out. But that was nice, because it's nice to get a bit of interaction. Excuse me. And, yeah, I had some really nice comments from people. Did notice one absentee.
Who?
But Gavin Wright.
He's probably banned from YouTube or Facebook. It's probably why he can't comment.
No, nothing this week at all.
Maybe he's on holiday again. That wouldn't surprise me, actually.
Does he holiday a lot?
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if he's on holiday.
What, Parson? Does he holiday down Parson Drove or?
No, that's a bit far. Coldham.
Coldham?
Yeah. No.
He holidays in Coldham.
No, he likes Turkey, I think. He goes to Turkey
Does
quite
he?
a bit, yeah.
He actually sent me a message last Monday.
Yeah.
Just after we finished recording last week's podcast, which did tickle me. So I got this just after we finished. When you and Alex do your podcast, make sure he's in a positive mood. Had to sit next to that miserable git on Sunday. Can't do with his negativity.
We did cover it, didn't we?
We did cover it.
Yeah.
So that was very... Oh, it did tickle me when I got that. I thought, oh, how funny. Yeah. So I did have to let him know that we've already done it. Yeah.
Can't we deal with your negativity, bear?
So I didn't show the rest of the messages. I said, give him some hassle. He went, I will do, but we haven't heard anything. So
No.
Gav Wright, you let me down. But
Never
mind. Right, so we've got lots of match results to get onto. And as you can see from our lovely table, if you're listening on audio, you're missing out. We have a very nice visual display, which we'll get onto these things later. Mm-hmm. Should we do a couple of things that are at the forefront of my mind?
Go for
Some local things.
Local for local people.
Guardian Scheme first.
Mm-hmm.
Guardian Scheme has been a very good success, completely down to all the people that have helped. We've got over 60 Guardians on the whole of middle level and connected drains, and it has been very quiet over the last few months, which is good. However, there's always a however. Yesterday, we were recording on Monday, even though guys are going to hear this on Wednesday. Yesterday, there were some occurrences at Stoke Ferry Aqueduct. The reason
So is that the relief channel, Stoke
this
Ferry?
is the cut-off.
Oh, cut-off,
Yeah.
sorry. Right.
So this area technically isn't covered by the Guardian Scheme, but Kings Lynn have been keeping an eye on it, even though they don't actually lease the water. But there's a lot going on down there. Now, I'm not going to say too much, but those who've been watching some Facebook posts will know what I'm on about. A couple of individuals were down there yesterday and up to no good. They were in a van, mm-hmm. which was quite easily identified. Mm-hmm. And when we put the picture of the van up on social media, someone got in contact with me and said, oh, I saw that van on Saturday on Well Creek. And people looked like they were up to no good. I sent the picture to a guy who I know has been keeping an eye on parts of the creek to see if he recognised this van, and he immediately replied, yes, that's one of the two vans we've been trying to track down. Mm. So, even though we're not directly involved with the creek or Stoke Ferry, mm-hmm. because Ash Brown's fly's going to headbutt me. Yeah.
There's about one fly and it's on you constantly.
Maybe I should wash this month. Yeah. Yes, because Ash Brown's obviously an integral part of the scheme. Mm. He's in contact with me. We try and spread the word. So basically, the scheme's really working well because we're now tracking down who we think, individuals who we think are up to no good. And of course, information was passed on to the EA yesterday, and the RCAT, CAMS and Norfolk RCAT will have this as well, which is good. Now, the reason why I mention this is because we have kind of decided that we're going to start covering Well Creek. Well Creek is free fishing, part of its setup. I think it was set up years ago for free fishing for people in the village and surrounding areas. But obviously it's free fishing. So we don't need the permission of any angling clubs, but obviously I'm going to try and contact a few people who are involved with the fishing on it and the local residents, just be polite and say, look, we need to start doing something on the creek. Got 2 guys who are going to expand the scheme on that area, and they're going to have all the flyers and business cards. So over the next few weeks, I think we need to try and help out because they've had a lot of fish removal recently by, sadly, 1 or 2 individuals, and we've nearly nailed one of them, and hopefully the police, I don't want to say too much obviously because I don't want to give the game away, but you know, police and EA are involved as we speak. So that's one great thing that's coming out of this. We're going to try and help that area as well. And another thing that's on top of my mind, which is kind of like a reverse, and you'll see where I'm coming from with this. Saturday, Whittlesea and District Angling Association hosted the Pike Championships. Now, this is one of my bugbears. People that know me will know I'm a pike angler, and I have been bait fishing for over 40 years. Dead baits, live baits were allowed. And my mind boggles of why we have pike matches that involve bait fishing. The problem is twofold in my mind. When you're fishing in a match for pike and money is at stake, and you're using a dead bait, let me backtrack a little bit for those that don't know. When you're dead bait fishing, you basically have it might be a dead roach, if the rules allow, it might be dead sea bait. It's just sitting on the bottom. You can pop them up, but it doesn't make much difference, it's dead. A pike will pick up the bait sidewards, swim off with it, and it will use its tongue to turn the bait head first and swallow it. So if you're using 2 hooks, which is the normal method on this, on a wire trace, you want to wind down on the pike as it's moving away from you because you want to get the hook in the scissors of the mouth. So that's how you should do it. As soon as it's moving off, you get an angle back towards you away from the way the pike's moving. Wind down, don't strike, keep winding until it all goes solid and pull into the fish. What will happen is the pike's got 600 teeth. It will open its mouth to try and eject what it feels, which will allow the hook to pull into its scissors. You're not going to pull a bait through 600 teeth, are you? So striking's pointless. If you strike, you're just going to snap off. So you just keep winding down, and the hook will pull in, which makes it very easy to unhook. Sadly, I know of too many people who let runs develop. And sadly, I know some of these people fish these pike matches. And sadly, these pike matches, you can win a lot of money. So if you get a run, if you're not thinking of the fish's welfare, you're just thinking of your own benefit, how long do you let the runs develop? And it's well documented that there's a few anglers who leave these runs for an awful long time because they just don't want to lose the fish. They end up deep hooking the fish. This time of year in particular, it's very warm. The pike are going to swallow the baits quickly. So I'm dead against any pike matches that involve using dead baits in particular for that reason. Now, most of the guys in these matches will have the pike's welfare at mind, and they will try and strike very, very quick, or wind down as soon as they get a positive indication. But sadly, there are a few who aren't like that, and it's a problem because it's a big match that was on Saturday. Some of these pike, I know, were deep hooked because the stewards told me. So, you know, we've got this match that is actually causing harm to fish because the method that's being used isn't being used sensibly by a handful of anglers. So that's my big bugbear with it. And the other thing that frustrates me is the Angling Trust actually organised this event. And I'm thinking, nah, you can't. The Angling Trust needs to have a look at this. Pike bait matches are not good for pike for the reasons I've just outlined. They will get deep hooked. The retention in keep nets is like, oh no, the scales get knocked off, they're big fish. They need to be put in specific carp retaining sacks, or pike tubes are even better. Whittlesea and District volunteers were manning the sections bar one person, I believe, who was from the Angling Trust. So they ran the event and they tried to get the pike weighed and returned as quickly as they could, because obviously they got the pike welfare at mind. So they did a brilliant job of actually running the event. But it just doesn't sit well with me when we're trying to stop people from removing fish from our waterways, and then on the same weekend we've got the pike championships, which will cause undue damage to one or two fish through deep hooking. So it's kind of like, that's a really hypocritical thing to do. In my mind, pike matches need to be lure fishing, because you're not deep hooking the fish. And also, they don't need to be weighed. They can be measured on boards given to the competitors. So if you think you've caught your fish, you've got an hooking mat, you put your measure on top with your little card, quickly put the fish on the mat, lay it flat, it's on the floor, so it's safe for the fish. Take a photo, length's recorded. We have all these apps now that we just enter the length. Fish is returned, it's very, very, very quick. So that's the way forward with all these things. But yeah, just a little bit of a hypocritical thing that, we're trying to save fish stocks from being removed, yet at the same time we've got a pike match with predominantly dead baits, and the Angling Trust, the national governing body of fishing, is actually endorsing this type of activity. So one for people to think about. I know there's a lot of people who have always fished pike matches in this area, and there's one or two angling clubs that we're associated with that host them because it's a good earner. They get money from it. But at the end of the day, what's more important, a few extra quid or preserving the pike stocks? So, I'm not going to ask your thoughts on that one, Alex, but from my point of view, from an experienced pike angler who's been bait fishing for a long, long time, you'll wind down as soon as you get a positive indication. You'd rather lose that fish than deep hook it, even if it's a 20-odd pounder, you'd rather lose it. But sadly, not everybody thinks the same as me, and when it comes to hundreds and hundreds of pounds, what the hell goes on? And I'm not naming names, but I've got so many anecdotes of things, it's just ridiculous. And I just think the whole thing should be knocked on the head, but it won't be. They'll carry on. And then we've got this ridiculous situation of trying to retain our pike stocks, yet we're having these matches that carry on regardless. So I'm not really having a whinge, I'm just trying to highlight to people that we've got to think about things because we're being a bit hypocritical.
Is it any different if they use live baits or dead baits, or is it just bait fishing?
Well, that opens up another can of worms, because technically you shouldn't move fish from different waterways.
Well, yeah.
So that's illegal. I will be quite honest, where I think it necessary, I will use live baits, but I get them from the water system which I'm fishing. And again, there's a size limit. Now, if you're using really small live baits, as soon as you get an indication, you want to wind down straight away, because the fish is going to, in a large pike, the fish is going to be in its mouth. So you use one hook rig, because you can wind down straight away. If you're in a pike match, I never fished them, but if you're using a live bait and you get indication it's a small fish, the same scenario would actually exist, because you want to wind down to get that hook into the scissors. And pike are quite aggressive with live baits. They'll sit there, line them up and take them. And I suppose if you're fishing a match, you want to use small baits anyway to try and convert. The problem is, if you leave it to develop, they'll turn them quick because they're alive, and they seem to know this because they want to secure their meal, use their tongue, and down they go. So, yeah, it's I just don't see I can't see a future for these matches with baits personally, because it's just asking, even with the best intentions in the world, if you haven't if you're using floats, for example, you've gone a bit too deep, and a pike just pick up and move off and swallow it quick. You're still going to cause problems, aren't you? Particularly in November when this match was held. So, yeah, it just frustrates me that we're trying to preserve pike stocks from being taken illegally. I've said it 3 times now, I'm saying, and we've still got them going. So you can see I'm a bit of it's one of my pet hates, really. And people disagree with me. That's fair enough. But hopefully people can see where I'm coming from with this. And pike welfare is at the forefront of where I'm trying to propose this type of thinking. But yeah, I will stop ranting on about it now.
Okie doke.
Yes. Should we do something tackle related before we get on to match results?
Sure.
Have I bored you that much?
Sorry, yes. I'll wake up now. Hang on.
Do you want to do the competition first? Or
Yeah, we're gonna. So look, obviously Facebook, We're going to competition for some new reels, a new reel, not reels. There's only going to get one that we're giving away. A Guru Aventus 4000, which is like your feeder size reel. So we're going to do a like and share on the Tackle and Baits Facebook page, just to try and get a few more people to the Facebook page. All you'll have to do is like the Facebook page, which probably most of you already do anyway. Tag someone and share it, and away you go. And then we'll do a draw and we'll announce the winner. We haven't got a date yet, but obviously look on the Facebook page for that competition. So that's it really, short and sweet on that one, but definitely worth a tag and share for a £275 reel.
I was about to say, these retail at £275, and they're solid, aren't they?
Yes.
They're not the lightest reels,
No,
but there's a lot of working parts here.
You can tell they've got some cranking power and that.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, nice drag and that. So yeah, look out for that one.
Hold on, let's just reiterate that. So what we're going to do, we're going to put on the Tackle and Baits Facebook page probably some nice pictures of these reels.
Yeah.
And to win it, you need to like the page, but tag in someone's name, and that's where we can check to see who's done it.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest about this, Alex really wants to push the Tackle and Baits Facebook page.
Yeah.
He's giving away a very expensive reel, so we want something back in return, and we want loads more people who don't see the page to see it.
Yeah.
That's the honest
Yeah.
ask. And it's trying. So it's a bit like me asking for a thumbs up at the beginning of the
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
We're just trying to maximise things. From my perspective, and Alex probably going to go a bit red here, but the tackle shop's brilliant. Alex has done a fantastic job over the years. Rookery Waters is brilliant. Both businesses are on the up and up and up, and it's a case of let's push it as much as we can, because angling's on the up and up and up as well.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's a nice prize to give away, mate. Very generous.
Yeah.
Right, last week we did, first time ever, some bits and bobs, didn't we?
Yeah.
So you've got some more bits and bobs to show
Yeah, I
us.
sort of had to think about, obviously, something that's quite relevant to the Fenland drains. They're clear, they're narrow, the fish tend to go away from you rather like across the drain rather than left and right, just the way that they are. And we do a bit of specialised waggler fishing around here. I mean, there's sort of certain rods and stuff that we use, which is sort of, you can't get those sort of rods anymore. The nearest things to the sort of little drain rods that you can get, obviously the Sphere hot rods.
I was going to say, didn't Browning used to do
Yeah, they were real expensive rods, but they were absolutely bob on for the job. They're more of a flicking tool rather than a casting tool.
Yeah.
They're just super fast, real soft. So the nearest things to that at the minute are probably the Drennan Acolyte in 11 foot. They're the softest sort of rod. I think Cadence do one as well, which is like an 11 foot, which is sort of ideal for that sort of fishing, nice and light. So rods, sort of specialised tool, we have got the Acolyte ones in, but more importantly the wagglers and the sort of terminal side of things. So we'll start with wagglers. Obviously we do the G-Wags, we've mentioned them before, and we've now persuaded Drake to do us some drain sort of wagglers. So I don't know if you can see them there, the nice blue with decent.
Put them down on the table, buddy.
Yeah.
I've got a bright light in the background. There we go. And I've got a bright light on the table as well. I don't know what's. Oh, they're nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're very similar to the old Image ones. They're probably not as thin a taper at the top as the Image ones, but they're unloaded and they cast really well. They fish nice. They're probably the most popular float that we use for the drains. Just that nice slim sort of profile to the tip. And we do these in 1.5 BB, so really light. So if you were fishing places like March, maybe when the water's really clear and you're catching on the pole, but you know that the pole's spooking them, and you can't really sort of take too many fish from one spot. So these are ideal on a little waggler with 1.5 BB.
Oh, they're dinky.
Yeah, they're really smart. Nice and short. Obviously, if it's too windy, you're not going to get away with one of them. But they also come with a nice attachment. I don't know if you can see that on there.
Hold on, where did you put it?
just there. Which a lot of the wagglers don't come with. What I actually do is, because there isn't anything on the market apart from these, I don't know if they're going to sell these separately, hopefully they will, but actually make my own little waggler adapters. And I'm quite privileged obviously in the shop to get offcuts of hollow elastic. Normally black hydro is what I use, and I just cut some black hydro and I just glue a swivel inside it, and that black hydro just lasts forever. It's really, really good black hydro. It's just durable. So if you do want to make some nice little swivels, make them out of that.
Good idea.
So they're the Drake little balsa wagglers, perfect for the drains.
What are they retailing at?
So I think they're about $2.75. They're not cheap, but they are handmade, and obviously you get the attachment as well. The next sort of waggler that we use is these, which are the Drakes, which are just little 5-inch ones. Now they're really fine tip, they are. Now I like them a lot. They're probably like the most sensitive because they're obviously an insert as well, so you got to have the conditions dead right. But the good thing with these is you can get these in quite a longer length as well. They do a 5 and a 6-inch, which when there's a bit of wind on, these do fish really well.
I think they old, old inserts.
They're loaded as well, and they cast dead straight.
Hold that there, mate. Yep, that's lovely.
So they're really like needle point. They're really nice. You dot them down to that.
Hold on.
Really sensitive.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like, if it's probably in the ideal conditions, they obviously Drake as well, and then they do a little glow tip, like an insert glow tip. These are the 7-inch ones, the longer ones, but they do these in 5 and 6 inches as well. And these are, you can see these are mile off.
Just hold that. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they're sort of.
Yep.
They're loaded as well. Again, just either these attachments fit it or make your own up with a bit of black hydro. They're spot on. So they're the sort of 3 wagglers I use for most of my drain fishing. If you've still got some of the old image ones, then you want to cherish them and try not to break them. I think I nearly cry every time I break one of them. So they're the wagglers. They're not cheap wagglers, they're quite expensive, but they're handmade. So that's the wagglers, that's that sorted. Main lines, some people use sort of your high-tech mono like 011, 013 power line, stuff like that, but I just find that it doesn't seem to last on your reel that long. So I always go for Maxima in 1.5 or £2. Not many shops will stock this low. I use this for a lot of my bottom end only whip rigs as well because it sinks. Always, even with the whip rigs, to make it sink, I just get some sinking line spray. So I just either, if I'm on my whip rigs, I'll just spray the winder with the line and that on before I unwind it, and then obviously spray this on your spool.
Just hold that still a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. That's it. The camera's not playing well. You use that a lot, don't you?
What, this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, yeah. Every time I go out before the session, I always put some of that on there.
You've mentioned that to me a lot when you're feeder fishing as well.
Yeah, feeder fishing, yeah. It does help. You can use washing up liquid. I just think that's easy to keep in your bag.
Yeah.
So that's the line, simple.
It's interesting that Maxima still has a role to play, and it's been around for 100 years.
It lasts forever, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's dark, it sinks. You know, when you're fishing these little wagglers, you need something because of the wind as well, you're sort of flicking it harsh, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So when it lands, you couple a turn on the reel and you're flicking your rod tip and just sinking all that line as best you can, otherwise it's going to be doing this in it and you're not going to catch like that. So that's that really. Hook wise, I normally fish sort of an 08 hook length because you do get an odd little perch. Places like Benwick, March, Cockbank when we used to fish there. 20 foot's a bit different. You'll perhaps use a bit heavier wagglers because it's a bit wide, and sometimes it depends if the rudder there or not. but I would go for a 20 or an 18 hook.
On an 08.
On 08, yeah.
You see, that's what I had that fish on last week.
08.
Braid.
08 braid, yeah.
I know it's different, but it just shows you
yeah.
How things have developed amazingly. That you can use such fine diameter hook links and braids, and with balanced tackle you can catch fantastic fish.
You can use small hooks, and there is a time and a place for it. With the rods and that you're using, you can use a real small hook, but I think on that waggler, the fish are coming to it, and the bites are quite aggressive.
Yeah.
So you can use a bigger hook.
So if you're using this waggler rig, these waggler rigs, and that setup you just explained, probably more clearer water conditions.
Well, yes and no. I just think Benwick is an ideal.
Is that because of the wind as well?
Well, the fish just naturally push across.
Yeah.
So because it's clear, you can't sort of take 2 or 3 fish from one place without them spooking. Whereas with the waggler, you can literally pick it up. And I think the reason why it works is I don't care who you are, you're not chucking in exactly the same spot.
I was about to say the same
time.
thing, yeah.
It's you know, you chuck in within an area, so the fish are always backing off to where they feel safe, and you can sort of nick 2 or 3.
Which actually helps you.
Put it back down.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Being inaccurate is a bonus.
But inaccurate in an accurate way, because
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feeding wise, with the drains and that, you don't have to be feeding it constantly, because the fish just naturally push across there. And the time you ship 16 metres across there, laid your rig in, caught 2 or 3, then you sat there. A waggler is so much quicker.
Yeah.
You know, in out, in out, in out, and you put a pound of fish in your net in no time.
Yeah.
Put it back down again, carry on the pole on your shorter lines, go back on the waggler. Some days you catch in rudd, and some days, if you can get to the bottom nicely, you can catch some dumpy roach and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a method that people like Polly are very, very good at. Obviously, that's where he made his name.
Yeah.
Rob Hewison, the old image boys on the canals, that's, really good at that sort of fishing. And to me, on the drains, you need that set up in your bag, because you never know when you're going to need it either. That's the thing. There's a few pegs at March where you might think, I wish I'd had a waggler today.
Boat turn.
Sorry, yeah, turning bays.
Turning bay, yeah.
Even when it goes really clear,
Yeah.
and the fish are, that last hour when the fish are right, they're sort of pushed tight across, and you can nick 3 and then they're gone. Whereas you can just flick a little waggler over there, even if you lose 3 in squats or whatever, and just carry on catching, and people stop catching, you're just going, bloop, another one, another one.
I was stalking some very large trout recently, and on a very small little setup lake, using the floating line, it was pretty obvious that these fish were spooked by the floating line, which has got to be the same as the poles over the top of the heads.
Possibly.
Got to be, yeah.
It's totally different presentation. Totally different.
Yeah. You got some 2 batinis there by the looks of things.
Yeah, they're Series 4s. These are the bronze ones. They're sort of ideal for waggler fishing. They're a fine hook, but reasonably strong. These are the bronze
Show
ones.
us on the camera, please.
So that's an 18.
Oh, keep it still. Perfect, yeah.
You'd fish 20s.
Show us
probably.
again, a bit longer. Please. So that's what you use, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Series 4s.
Yeah, and you do sell a lot in the shop, don't you?
We do sell a lot of them in the shop. Yeah,
So obviously they're
really
very
popular
good.
hook.
Yep.
They're very similar to the old 3-1 ones that Preston used to do. I think they're pretty much the same hook, but they do a bronze one and a nickel one. I prefer nickel for pole fishing, just because they seem a bit finer.
Yeah.
So I like for squats, pinkies, that sort of thing. But if I'm on the waggler, I'll fish the bronze ones because they just seem a little bit stronger.
Makes sense, and like you said, the
Yeah.
fish a bit more aggressive, yeah.
Yeah. That's it really with the waggler. Obviously, it's simple.
You've
but
got
it's
some
when it
pole
works.
protectors there as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the drains are steep banks or
Yeah.
march, shipping through hedges and dog turds and all sorts of things like that. So I'm probably not the best advocate for looking after gear, but these are good from Browning. They're like an end cap, so they act like a bung, but also you can fish with them as well. So if you're shipping back through hedges and stuff, just protects them.
So you know that on the end section of your pole that you use?
Yeah. Obviously the tried and tested pole protectors.
Yeah.
So definitely need those on the drains as well.
Well, I don't understand how guys pay £2,000, £3,000, £4,000 for a pole.
Yeah.
They don't spend a few quid to protect the sections.
Yeah, I mean
Bit
obviously
mad,
there's
really.
loads of nose cones and different bits and bobs. We've all got those. Dolly butts as well make a big difference on the drains.
Yeah. While I've got the camera in my hand, mate, just pick up one of those reels. I'll just zoom in. Not zoom in, I'll focus on your hand, because that is a... Yeah, that's the series? Model, the model's better word, that you are going to give away in the comp.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice reels, that's cool. That's great, Alex. I think every now and again we need to keep bringing in bits of tackle, because it's great for the match anglers to see little things that are out there, and it's like everything. It's not the big things that make the difference. No. It's the little things. So that's great. Right, I'm going to put this down because it's awkward. Perfect, thanks for that. Cool. Right, while I get this away, shall we start to delve into the local match results?
Go for it.
Before you start, mate, I'm going to put in, sorry, I was putting here. Can I just say to guys who sort of spread the word last week, so I mean people like Andy Shortland, I think 3 of his mates were mentioned on the Whole Beach matches, and he tagged them into like the Facebook page. Yeah. Brilliant. And then he started sharing out different things as well. That's really great, because obviously I think someone sent us a message saying that he really likes this podcast because it's community based. And I think that's really important. We try and mention as many people as we can. Yeah. So if
people message us with the results of whatever matches they're fishing, Monday morning's always best, because obviously we do the podcast on a Monday afternoon, so it's no good doing it on a Tuesday because that won't be covered till the following week. But even like when he tagged in the guys that had framed in the match, I think that's quite a nice way of doing it, because the more people that help us sort of do this, it kind of spreads the word locally of what we're trying to do. Yeah. So that was really good idea. No, 5 years ago, you could open the local paper and you'd see angling results in there. Now there's nothing at all. I know that's the way of the world and everything, social media side of things. You can just pick your phone up and who's done what, where and when, but it's probably the only way of us getting all the results in one sort of area, isn't it?
And if this becomes that vehicle, brilliant. Yeah. It's not about pushing tackle and bait stuff, this podcast, is it? It's about
Fenland fishing.
Fenland fishing, yeah. So people just use this podcast and try and get people involved, and if we mention people, just let them know. It'd be great, because we spend enough time doing this, we can't do the rest of it as well. And the fact that these other guys have been helping off their own back, I think is amazing. So the more people that spread the word, the better. Right, buddy, I did butt in. I do apologise.
That's all right. Should we start with the Whole Beach match?
Yeah, you start off.
So, Whole Beach is one of them drains that's been on the decline for a few years, but now it's proper coming back.
You're talking about Holland, aren't you?
Yes, on the main Holland, South Holland, isn't it? Yeah. And well, the weights this week were proper eye-catching.
That sticky stuff's amazing.
Yeah. So I'll start off in 6th place was Jason Thrower with £20.12, which is a mega weight.
I haven't seen the match results. This is going to be interesting.
Oh, right. Alan Smith had £21. Roger Smith had 25.6. Chris Newton had £31.4. Gary Boxall £40.4. And John Sibley £41 dead. So if you haven't seen the results, what fish do you think they were?
Well, you kind of gave it away when you mentioned the species, because but you would automatically think they're bream or big silvers, wouldn't you? Bream, rudd, and roach. Right. But I think you're going to say perch.
Yeah, perch. And 70% of them weights were perch. That's mad, isn't it?
And where were they?
Good question.
Don't tell everybody. I'm going to go down there first.
Right. They weren't massive perch. They were just lots of like 2 and 3 ounce perch.
But isn't that amazing?
It is. Yeah. It's good to see. Really, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a mental weight.
That's if that was roach, people would be saying amazing. But the fact that most of them are perch.
Perch are very strange fish, aren't they?
There's obviously a fair few there.
Yeah, just hope they don't all die off, because that's what perch do sometimes. Yeah. They get disease really easily.
But that's incredible weights, really. So
that's a great match. That's a very interesting, because I've had the salt incursions and all the fish. A lot of the species got wiped out. I think the bream was starting to make a bit of a comeback. Yeah. So the carp have always kept its kind of like head, but it's nice that the silvers are
it's mega, isn't it? Yeah. So they've got a good Facebook page. If you're looking to sort of book into the matches, I suppose book on through there. I think Chris Newton might organises the matches. So I'm sure his telephone number, or you can get him on Facebook. So yeah, incredible weights really.
Cool.
While we're that way, do you want to do Tid?
I'll do Tid, yeah. Right, so we had Mona on, didn't we? What were we going to call him? Mona?
Who?
Simo? Victor?
Oh no, just don't know. Yeah, Victor.
Because they keep. That's why they call him Victor, isn't it? Victor Meldrew.
Well, no, Victor Meldrew, not because he keeps winning.
They had an away day.
They did.
To Kingsland Fisheries.
Yeah, on the Silver Lake.
So I'm reading this off their Facebook page, and apparently everyone was in high spirits.
That's good, isn't it? Catch a few fish.
There were no moans as the pegs were given out, and probably because Victor was on draw duty, so he's getting a bit of stick again. Yeah. And everyone was very optimistic. So Gary Burton won the match with 96.12.
Yeah, he is an ex-carp angler, so he was always going to be favourite.
Second was Martin Thomas with 57.8. And third was Steve Fox with £50 dead. And Victor Simmons, fourth, with 45.8.
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
So, yeah, so they had an away day, which is what angling club they do every now and again, don't they, which is good.
Yeah, they go on the 20-foot and here, there and everywhere, don't they?
Yeah. This Wednesday, the Open is on Tid. And if you look on their Facebook page, it's to contact Pete Emery on his number. So that'd be cool. So that's a very nice little social event they got going on, because it keeps the social side up, doesn't it? If your local fishery's fishing a bit hard, to go on different places as well. Right. Are we going to talk about Chip Shop Tuttleby, or
what you mean, Sarsens and Paxo?
I believe he's got a sponsorship deal.
He has, yeah. He's sponsored by Sarsens.
Do we get a percentage as soon as we put this on for him?
Well, we've got Colgate, Raymond, didn't we? Keith don't show us your teeth. So now we've got Sarsens and Paxo. Chip Shop.
He owes us some money, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should give a trophy out for.
Also, it's the it's the podcast karma. If you get mentioned a lot, you tend to win things. Yeah. Not mentioning more than there's more than Tuttleby that's won this week. So yeah. This is definitely the podcast karma. So,
so there was a carrot wash.
He's done well, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. He hasn't been one end or the other. He's been in the middle. So
he hasn't been battered.
He's had £12 dead on his small fish, which carrot wash. It's good to see some of the venues fishing well, because a lot of the venues are still fishing quite harsh at the minute with the weather and stuff. So he's had £12 dead. Chris Hardman was second from sort of the opposite end, going away from the bridge. He's had £11.5. I think he's had a tench including in that and some bits and pieces. Then 118 John Taylor was third. He had
357 fish.
Yeah. 398 and a half.
Does he come in for a fish counter every year because he wears them out?
No, he's a maths teacher, isn't he?
Oh.
Yeah.
He's got good memory.
Yeah. He had £10.12. He'd have loved that though, wouldn't he? He'd have been in his element, 300 and some odd fish. So he had 10.12, and then fourth was Chris Daniels with £7.2. So pretty decent weights really, and the weather Saturday was awful, wasn't it? It was windy. Yeah. Proper awful. Yeah. Well, yeah. So that was a Wiltshire Club match. Ramsey matches, they're doing a Wednesday and a Sunday. Fish are a bit tight at the minute. Pretty much all the fish are where peg 1 and 2 is, and casting towards the sort of bridge. So that's been dominating those matches, but they're good matches on a Wednesday. Anyone looking for a nice friendly club match. And that's it on the club match side. No one else has messaged or anything. I think we've sort of covered them, haven't we? Yeah, I'm trying to think. I've not seen much else. No, that's it. That's all I can think of. But so yeah, Winter League. Yeah, what about here? Here. So yeah, we had the teams of 3 here. Saturday, one angler on each lake. So each lake is one section. Got 11 teams of 3. It's about 4th year we've been doing it now. It's good fun, really. It is good fun, and it's done on accumulative points over the whole series, and you can drop your worst score. So, like for example, this week, Harold's +1, which was Dave and Ross Harold and Danny Clark. They had 10 points. Second was Bubble and Friends, which is Tom Edwards, Winnie. Bubble and Friends. Yeah, Friends, not Friends. Friends. And Tony Evans. They had 12.
That's a good team, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all good teams.
Yeah.
And then third was Darwa Tackle and Baits, which was Adam Playford, Billy Marlowe, and James Taylor. They had 14.
Hold
and
on,
then
fourth was
fourth
the dream team.
Was the dream team.
The leg ends.
They have won this league
Have
before. They won it in the first year.
Rookery Water leg ends.
Yeah, they won it the first year, and we had about 12 teams. Then the second year, there's about 25 teams when they realised that Rookery Waters and who was in the team won it. So, no, it was good to see them do all right.
Are you going to say who they were?
Yeah, they've drafted a decent angler in Tony Watling Senior.
Yeah.
So, how they've managed that one, I reckon they must be the Newcastle of the fishing world, because
They got a ringer in, haven't they?
they got a ringer in. Yeah. So my dad, Mr. Timmy Bates, was fourth on his lake, so he was well chuffed with that.
Even though he broke his top kit.
Yeah, in the wind.
Yeah.
It's probably mine anyway. Probably one he just I'll take that of Alex's.
You better check your
He
bag
don't-
for the
He
weekend.
ain't used it for a year. That must be mine now. Anything that goes in the shed at home is classed as his now.
Oh, that's like role reversal, isn't it?
And Ed Sheeran, Darren Ogden. I think he was eighth. Mr. Watling was fourth, aka Corned.
I'm glad you got that one in.
£96. Dad had £76 for fourth on his lake, and Darren had 50. I think he had £51, but £60 won the lake, and he was eighth. So
Wow. Your
you
dad
know,
was saying that Raven, like,
the weights weren't massive, but they were really,
Yeah.
really close all the way around.
Crazy.
And that's how it is. You know,
Yeah.
if you're on Raven and you're getting a fish and chuck, chances are everyone's getting a fish and chuck.
yeah.
It's just fishing well. So Adam Playford won that lake. He had £60, and Ross Howard had 56. Tony Evans had 54, and then fourth was Ricky Ashwell, and fifth was Ben Townsend. So it was real close. Like I say, eighth was really tight. Jay, so the winner of Jay was Steve Hayward. He had £103 on his pellet approach. Runner-up was Bubble Edwards, Tom, with £100. And third, just beating my dad, like I just said, was Rob Heath with £1 more than my dad.
Steve Hayward, what time did he rock up?
He was here early this week.
No way.
Yep, he was. He was here at about 9:20.
Oh, I'm disappointed in him.
Yeah, but he did have a breakfast, and
He's so relaxed.
yeah,
Isn't
he is. Yeah, there's no rush.
No.
Moving on to Magpie. Magpie's fishing really well at the minute. We put some F1s in last year, and they've grown quite quickly, quicker than I thought, and they've had more of an impact than I thought as well. Normally the fish in the winter are sort of this end of the lake near the lilies, like the carp real shoal up. They probably will end up shoaling up there, but at the minute the fish seem to be spread round, and that the hot pegs that are normally in the winter, they're just catching F1s. So you're getting lots of bites, but the weights aren't particularly big. So I think once it cools down a little bit more, I think the weights will slowly drop and probably make it a bit fairer. That's the plan anyway.
But if you hadn't taken out some of those bigger carp,
Yeah.
these if anything in there wouldn't have grown, would it?
Not really, no.
Wouldn't have biomass.
Yeah.
So you've done
Yeah.
the way, because I watched what you were doing last year, and you took out some of the bigger carp out of Magpie, put them into Crow, but you restocked Magpie with these F1s, so they had a balance of different types of carp in there.
Yeah.
And that was a really clever way of doing it, because it's kind of like giving anglers there's different types of fish to go for in there.
There is, mate, yeah.
It's
And,
very good.
You know, anglers are like, you can't please everyone, but...
Well, they don't see the whole picture. I mean, the guys who come here regularly do, and they understand.
Yeah.
And it's actually your experience of running fisheries has come. It's just borne fruit, hasn't it? Basically,
Yeah.
It's been a very good idea.
Yeah. So lake winner was Bruno Norman, peg 32, which there seems to be a shoal of proper carp sat there at the minute. He's had a mega day. He's had £189.12
Of lumps.
Yeah, magpie originals. Like £4 to £7 fish. He's had a lovely day. One of them days where everything you do, you catch, and you can't beat them days really. But he's had 189.12. Danny Clark was on 11, which is down the bottom end, which you would not normally fancy those pegs. He's had 113 dead, and third was Jack Gill with 109 on 5. So There was a 96, a 94, £81, which was all F1s. Fished really well, yeah.
Yeah.
Really well. So
That's great, isn't it?
that was that. Obviously, we had the usual Thursday match on J. That was like a sellout again, sort of 31 on there. £83 won it, £82 was second, £78 was third, £76 was fourth, and then £63 was fifth. So
Wow.
close weights again, which in the winter you want that, don't you?
Yeah, but it just makes it interesting fishing for everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, all in all, that's been all right. So
And we've had 3 frosts, didn't we?
yeah,
This week. So
Tuesday, Wednesday,
Thursday.
Friday, was it? Friday morning.
Tuesday, Wednesday, definitely. Probably, yeah.
Mm.
There was a frost. It was the first time we had some frost. So that's good that the temperatures are starting to drop a bit.
Yes.
Nice. Right. So we've been delaying this one. Should we get to the
Oh yeah.
yeah, the Winter League warm up on Benwick again?
Yeah. So
Hold on.
what?
Give us a high five. That was pathetic. Well done.
Yeah, well drawn.
Well done.
So no one was really looking forward to this one, just because I don't know. Everyone's got that. It's just full of weed. It's frustrating. The weather was windy.
It's proper fen fishing though, and you got to get your head
It
around
is.
it.
It is fen fishing, and to me, team fishing, whether you win win your section with £2 and the lowest weight's £1, or you catch £30 and everyone else catches £30, it's team fishing. So someone's got to win at the end of the day, and it's all about doing well for your team. And Benwick as a venue, it's a bit soul destroying, the fact that it's so weedy, and some pegs have got more weed than others, and it makes a massive difference. I don't know what the hell that was.
Thought it was a ghost.
Yeah, that was a ghost. And basically, as a venue, it's sort of 60 pegs there and cop holder. I mean, it's not amazing weights, but it's still, £3 wins a section, but £1's the last. So it's a proper, it's a fishing match. Hopefully next week we get a bit of luck. It absolutely kicked us proper last round, so we're sort of not looking forward to it, but
It's a bit gnarly fen fishing though. You got to get your head around it and get stuck into it, haven't you?
Yeah. So fished a lot harder this week, a lot harder, but a bit fairer, I suppose you could say that. I mean, A section's never really fair, whether it fishes well or not. You've got to be 1 to 6. Well, I don't know. It depends. The only time you can probably compete off sort of 7, 8, 9 is when there's a load of tench feeding, back end of the season. You can absolutely paralyse the match from those pegs. But when it's smaller roach fishing and stuff like that, it's hard to compete from those pegs. There's areas where you need to avoid at Benwick, and areas where it's it's fair, but it's still Benwick at the end of the day. We expect too much, and £7 was mega at Benwick, and £11 would win the match. So I think we've been so spoilt the last 3 or 4 years of how well Benwick's fished and other venues, we sort of get a bit delusioned with it all, really.
Yeah, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So
right, come on, you're skirting around the match results.
Okay.
Come on.
Yes. So
go straight to who won?
A bloke called Alex Bates won the match.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well done, buddy.
Yes. So
that's fantastic. Well
as
done.
everyone tells me, I always draw all the time. Always draw flyers. So drew another flyer obviously this week. Drew peg 2, which
in what section?
A section. A2.
Yeah.
So A1's the peg normally. A3 can be, or used to be, a very good peg, but the boat's gone, so that's sort of levelled it out a bit. 6 can be a good peg. On their day, they all can hold more fish than others, but there's just more fish there. So, we were very lucky with, you couldn't have asked for a better draw really, apart from peg 1, because of the wind was a lot better where we were.
So when you drew A2, did you have that little nice?
Well, I had
your little smile.
I drew A2, and I'm like, I went A2. I'm like, where's it say cop holder 2 on here? Like looking like it, A2, and I was like, be alright. Yeah. And then walking out the pub, and everyone's waiting for me for their bait and stuff, and they're like, where are you drawing? And he goes, Gav goes, I'm on peg 3, and Danny's on 4. I'm like, I'm on peg 2, and it was like every draw bag was in my section, so it was like, we're in good company today, we'll have a nice match, and yeah, I did. I had 13-11.
When you say Gav, you didn't mean Bert?
No, Gav Butler.
No, Gav Wright, was he not allowed to fish this one?
I don't think he wanted to. I don't know, he might be on holiday, like I say, I don't know where he is, he's disappeared, but
He's doing colder.
it might be when I battered him last Sunday.
You chip shopped him.
No. He got chip shopped actually. Yeah.
Maybe he's the new chip shop then. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Mr. Tuttleby has lost that crown quite quickly.
So, and then we had Anthony Watling on 5, Slates was on 6, Dan Rogers on 7, and then when you get in that end of the section, it's not as good. Rob Hewison was in there. You know, it was a good section.
Yeah.
And I always felt that if you win that section with the weather and that, you were going to win the match. So it was sort of, especially I won't draw next to Gav for ages. I've been near Danny 2 or 3 times this year now. So he's a bit doom and gloom, not catching many fish. So yeah, just fish your normal Benwick match, just caught on ground bait and pinkies, here, there and everywhere. £13.11, a lot more than what I thought I had. I mean, people say, I lie and all this. I generally don't know what weight I've got. And it didn't fish as well as I thought it was going to in there. I thought we was fishing for £20 because the match before, £19 won it. There was a 16.
Yeah.
It was good fishing. So sort of between us, we were all like a bit disappointed, but the fact that we'd drawn them pegs, it wasn't as good, but it still was the best section in the match.
Yeah.
So we can't moan at that. So I had 13-11. James Dracula, he's on fire at the minute. He was in G section, which is like right the other end. There was some roach in them bends again. I think he's had sort of 7 and a bit pound of roach and a 4.5 pound bream or whatever it is.
Cool, that could have
Last
tilted it.
15 minutes, yeah. So he's had that's how Bennett used to be.
Yeah.
£7 of bits and a bream would win it with £11 or £7 of bits and a tench. And that, to me, that's how it always was. And then the third was Polly, I think, £11.2, just beating Graham Welton. He had £11.1. I think he had the same sort of £7-8 of bits and a tench. Polly had all bits and pieces at Little London. You know, he's mega at that small fish game. And then I think Danny Mason was last in with just over £10. So, yeah, I haven't seen all the boards, but just looking at section wins, £7 was winning most section, which
Nice, yeah. Well, you
still a
can't,
day's fishing.
you can't complain
You know,
about it,
it's
can
Benwick
you?
of old, looking
Yeah.
at it, just a bit more weed. And
If people retain that in their head for next week,
yeah,
it would be a nice match. It'd be good match fishing conditions.
it'd be good.
Yeah. Well done. That's you do on March. You do tend to get some very strange draws. You seem to get the allotments.
Well, I'm used to it now. It's just
Well,
it's fishing in it, and it's a winter league as well. So, you know, you always want to do well for your team, and it's always nice to draw a good peg in a section, and it makes it easier for you. But it's team fishing, isn't it? And someone's going to draw shit in your team, and people are going to draw well, and you just have to get over that. And it's all about a team, isn't it?
Talking about this earlier today, weren't we? That if you match fish for long enough, it's only a maths sum.
Yeah,
you're going to get some
law of averages.
Law of averages. You're going to get some really bad draws. You're going to get some very average draws, and you're going to get some really good draws. Yeah. And the sign of a good angler, which you are, is that when you get the good draw, you profit from it.
Well,
you do, because
you have to.
Yeah, you do. And because you're not, I can say this because it's not you saying this. You are a very incredibly good angler, and I always remember we had was it season 1 or season 2 on the podcast? It was one of the March Opens.
Yeah.
And we had organised for me to sit behind you with the recording equipment, which I didn't know how it was going to work out in the wind and everything. And the one proviso you said was, unless I draw an absolute flyer, then obviously it's not a good idea. So
Yeah.
I remember I was walking down Neam Parade and I saw you opposite, you were on the culvert.
I was a culvert, mate. Yeah, I dreamt of that peg.
And I was just there thinking, I'm going to stay here.
Culvert at the right time of year.
So
You
I
have to be in the right pegs at the right time of year.
So I didn't come round behind until the match had finished, but it was quite interesting because I ended up being a bit of a bit of a bank runner for you. I could see you was catching.
Yeah.
So even though I couldn't get to you doing the match, I could tell you afterwards, which was no good to you anyway. But it was I call it the podcast karma.
Yeah.
So you got a fantastic draw that day, and we went back into the pub afterwards, didn't we? It was good.
Yeah,
it was great.
That was when we could go in the pubs and that. It's getting back to normal now, though. Yeah.
Taking the mick out of Chip Shop Tuttleby last week, and he goes and wins it. It's podcast karma, and then you managed to draw really well and get your head down and win.
So you're going to say that Dial, Tackle and Baits are going to do all right this week? Is that what?
I don't know, mate. It's just podcast karma. I don't know. You guys, I think, I blame the manager.
Do you?
Yeah. I think there's been a few managers get the sack this week.
Right. Right.
And maybe you might have a coup d'etat on Sunday, and they might give you the kick.
Yeah.
And say, or maybe you have to drop some people, get some fresh faces in.
Well, it's Benwick. We're struggling to get a team.
I'm on holiday. I can't make it. I'm ill.
Yeah.
I've had a positive COVID test.
I've got this.
Make it.
Yeah. Cheers, boys.
No, but I'll look at. The law of averages of drawing in my head is if you get a really bad draw, you just got to beat the guy either side of you. That's all you can do.
That's team fishing.
Yeah.
Trying to explain to people that's what it's all about.
If you get an average draw, you got to try and win your section. And if you get on a really good draw, you got to try and win the match.
Yeah.
Because you're going to, or win the section knowing you're going to win your match in that because it's the best section of the whole match. So
I think this weekend is we do need to do well this weekend. We're halfway through and we're fourth in the league and we're quite a way off first and second.
You need to come first or second, don't you?
We do, yeah. We need.
And you need Matrix to kind of come last.
No,
Browning
winning. Yeah, but it's always such a tight league.
Yeah, but
it always is such a tight.
When
league.
teams want to roll.
Yeah,
like you guys want to roll.
Yeah.
Before lockdown, weren't you?
Yeah.
You just know you're going to draw well as well. You get confident.
Yeah.
So I think Browning are just going to. They want to roll. It happens every now and again, doesn't it? You mentioned Polly. I forgot to message him about coming on the podcast. I must.
You won't. He's on holiday for a couple of weeks now.
Is he?
In Jamaica.
Nice.
He loves Jamaica.
We'll get Winnie on as well. So we'll try Winnie next week if he's out there If Winnie, you're out there in the stratosphere, because I know he listens to us while he's tying his rigs in his man cave. So Winnie, we need you.
Kind of Heineken there.
I don't know how we're going to fit him in.
V911 hooks here.
He'll be here somewhere. Yeah, but we'll try and get someone else on. If not, it's going to have to be Gary Glitter.
Old Pete Wills.
Yeah. He'd play some of his tales. He'd come out fighting, can't he?
Yeah, from Leicester.
Yeah. Right, mate, is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, that's it.
Cool. Well, good luck to all the anglers involved in the Winter League this weekend. It's going to be, hopefully the weather's going to be a bit better. Have you looked at the forecast? Is it too far
Be
away?
warmer this week, isn't it?
I don't know, I haven't looked.
I
Haven't
don't
looked at
know.
all.
I don't look at the news or weather, to be honest. People tell me what happens and I just go, oh, right, yeah.
I definitely don't look at the
I get up in the morning, put my shorts on and that's it. I can't believe it's November the 8th and I've still got shorts on.
Put the heating on this week. I only put it on for like 2 hours each morning and evening, and I turned it off again.
I mean, how nice has it been today? It's been stunning, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a lovely day. Well, I'll tell you what I might do. I had a little toy, didn't I, to play around. We might put some footage on this somewhere and just show people how nice the fishery looked, or Rook did in
stunning,
particular.
didn't it?
Yeah, in the
with
afternoon
the
light. Yeah.
Literally did it at the right time because 20 minutes later the sun went in and it went cold and it like winter, but it just felt.
Sent the drone up just to go around the lake, and it just like wow, it looked like being in France carp fishing or something. It was stunning looking lake. So I might put some footage if I get time somewhere, but it takes me forever and a day to edit this, let alone extra things, but we'll do it. think just to say to everyone who's been listening, thanks for your support. I got a message from another non-angler or an ex-angler, so there are a few non-anglers listening to us. Mr. Welling didn't make contact this week.
He didn't?
No, he's probably let me down.
You sure he weren't making up that he was telling you that he listens and watches it?
Could have been, couldn't he?
Yeah, he's just going, yeah, all right, Andy. Yeah, I listened to it. Yeah.
He's just been polite, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I'm not going to say anything to him until he actually does listen to it. Because he does the odd one.
Does he?
And then he'll go, I forgot, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I missed it out.
Yeah.
And I say, all right, you got your ex-student here was your biggest fan and you let him down. Yeah. I'm waffling now. I'm going to bring this to an end.
Yep, let's do it.
Yeah. So everyone keep an eye open on the drains. So obviously Guardian Scheme is getting bigger and bigger. We will try and get the World Creek sorted. And as I said a few minutes ago, good luck to everybody in the Winter League and everyone else who's competing in the club matches. It is fantastic seeing. It's nice that these clubs are very, very well supported and keep pumping us full of info, and we'll try and push them as much as possible. So everyone have a good weekend's fishing. This has been Tales from the Tackle Shop, a Fenland Fishing TV production.